Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. So in a couple of days, I'm gonna have my first client for a brand new 30-day program. He's flying in from overseas and he's gonna be staying at the resort for a month. He's got all his accommodation, food, drinks, everything included for the entire month. And he's coming into this program, which is a consulting program that I do to help people get a lot more focused on their goals, to dramatically increase their production, and really just to be able to achieve whatever these goals are. And one of the key things that I'm going to be doing with this gentleman is we're going to get really clear on what are the priorities in his life. You see, way too many people have a tendency to want to add in too many things into their life. So they want to always add in more obligations, take on more work, take on more new hobbies. And what a lot of people find is they get to the end of the day and they are just exhausted. They've got so much on their plate. So one of the things that I'm going to be focusing on helping this guy is subtraction. Removing things from his life that are no longer serving him or don't really have enough payoff to warrant the amount of time and energy they suck up. And a lot of consulting programs out there, they take the opposite effect. They say that, look, if you want to achieve these big ambitious goals you've got to add in more stuff. You've got to work harder, you've got to take on more obligations, you've got to be more of a peak performer. And it's all about adding in more to your plate. And I just don't buy into that. I don't buy into that because my own experience in the last 15 years, I had a very successful run in my 20s, building a company from scratch to some fairly decent numbers. And at its peak, it was operating worldwide, doing events everywhere. And so I had a lot going on. But one of my biggest secrets to getting to that level was that I was always thinking about, how do I do less? And I know that sounds like a contradiction. It doesn't sound like you would achieve more by doing less, but I was always trying to get things off my plate. So for example, one of the first things I did is I hired an assistant, and I said to my assistant, I want you to take care of all the administrative things in my life. So for example, if I'm flying somewhere and I need to find a hotel, I need to find the best flight, I don't want to spend hours doing that because that's just yet another thing I need to do. Even when I was living in Malaysia, I had an assistant there and they would do all of my shopping. Okay, I wouldn't go and do grocery shopping. I wouldn't go and do even just to go and get dinner or lunch. I tried to offload as much as I could to my assistant. And the reason why this is so important is because if I tried to do everything, I would have gone crazy. I just would have. There was too much demand on my time. So I was always in the mindset of, I want to get as much off my plate as I can so I can focus on far fewer things, but things that are more important to me, things that are going to have a much bigger impact in my life. Now you might be watching this and thinking, well, Matt, that's great for you getting an assistant, but I can't get an assistant. Well, let's look at that. If you're working in a company right now, let's say that you're a manager, and you're finding that you are overworked, you've got way too much on your plate, it is possible that you can get an assistant. It is possible that you can go to your superiors, whoever owns the company or your manager above you, and you can make the case for why you need some help, some administrative help, and how that's going to lift your performance in your role, because most of the time it will. In my previous company, I had several managers running different divisions, and I would sometimes have them come to me and they would say, Matt, I've got way too much on my plate. I need to get some help. And in the early years, I was always reluctant to do that because I thought, okay, it's just adding yet another expense. But later on, I learned that no, it's actually a good idea. It's a good idea if they really need help and they're spending the majority of the time with what I'm paying them on lower level administrative things, and we can get some of that off their plate, it's a good idea. So towards the later years, I fully supported that. I would get them assistance so that it could lift the performance of their entire division. So you can get an assistant at work. You can also get an assistant in your own home life. And it doesn't have to be a lot. I'm not talking about necessarily a full-time salary where you have someone at your beck and call, but even doing things like the weekly shopping. If you have to pay someone for an hour or 2 hours of their time just to go and buy your groceries, buy the food, so it's one less thing you have to worry about. Or if you have to pay someone to come and do your gardening for 1 or 2 hours a week, it's about getting things off your plate so that your mind is less cluttered and you can focus on fewer things and think about them more deeply. So with this 30-day program that I'm doing, that's one of the core areas where people get benefit from it. People come here, they come to Costa Rica, they've got everything taken care of. We meet each day for 30 minutes And the very first priority when we sit down to talk is, I want to know about your life, what's your typical daily routine, and where is your time going? We examine all of that, we write it out, and we look at what's sucking up your time and energy, but giving you very little in return. And then we methodically go about removing that so that you can focus on these fewer things that are really going to get you the things you want, that will make you happy and make you feel more fulfilled. So if you'd like to know more about that program and how you can come to Costa Rica and join me and work with me one-on-one, send me a message on Facebook. I'll put my link below. Just reach out to me and I'll send you a website which explains everything you get, the main benefits of the program, and we can go from there. Okay, hope you get some value out of this, and I'll see you tomorrow.